I'm back. I don't know why I'm so cold, but I'm indoors and my bedroom right now is literally like an ice bath. I'm going to get through this podcast episode and it's going to be fine. I'll distract myself. Guys, look at my hair! I cut it short and I hated it, but I kind of love it. I love that I hate it because it's like ugly and it's like fun when you could make the most out of something ugly, because this is so fun. Like, I put my hair into 2 braids and I wouldn't normally do that with my long hair because it just doesn't hit the same, but this is giving very cute. I was not in the mood to talk about anything deep or remotely beyond the surface level, and so I'm going to talk about instead controversial dating opinions. And I've been having this podcast idea in the background for a really, really long time. And my original idea was to get my friends to join me to talk about these topics because I wanted to get multiple perspectives and I thought it would be really interesting. And I felt like it would be really fun in general to just talk about it with other people. But getting people together to do this type of episode, it was just too much work. And so I'm just going to talk about it in terms of my own opinions, and feel free to let me know if you have disagreements. I know everything I have to say is just solely from my opinion, from my own experiences, so I could take a hit. You can give me your 2 cents. Okay, so before I get into that, Hi Buffalo. First, with my hi, I posted about this on my Instagram, and if you don't follow me there, that's okay. I don't really care. But if you want to anyways, you can see what's going on outside of the vlogs and the podcast. And I went to a few galleries in New York, and there's this whole gallery walk you can do in Chelsea, which is so fun because they're free for one, and they change almost every month. And so there's a bunch of independent artists that you can discover, and their work is super duper cool. And it was just so fun. I did it for 3 hours with one of my friends, and I pretty much go once a month to go see these galleries anyways. But this one in particular was just so mind blowing. I saw so many cool art pieces, artists. It was just so awesome. And it just happens to be New York Art Week, which I didn't know was a thing. Also, I wanted to show you guys my socks. You can't really see them on the camera, but I'm wearing these like heart socks, and the red hearts match the red in my hair. Not that anyone will see this when I go out, but I'll know. Also, on the same day in the morning, I was like on some weird crackhead mentality. I decided to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, even though I had slept at like 2 the night before, because I wanted to catch the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens with the cherry blossoms before they all died. So usually with cherry blossoms, they have a peak period. Once the peak period goes away, they just die. And that like peak period is very, very small and short. And so I know that the peak period was like a weekish ago because my friend went, and I was like, oh my God, I really want to see them before they all die. And so I was like, I have to go today or else I won't go and see them at all. And so I went on Saturday, and thank God I did, because they were like really finishing off their peak period, and it was just so beautiful. Guys, like I literally could have cried. I went so early, and I'm so glad I actually woke up. There's basically 5 people in the entire botanical garden. My low is still going on. I'm looking for a new apartment, which also means I should vlog that process. I'm looking for a new apartment. I'm moving out of this beautiful apartment I've stayed in for 2 years. It has lots of good memories, but it's time to go. And that process of moving out of an apartment sucks. It's so much work, especially in New York City, where I don't have a car. So you got to pay for movers, or you got to move everything in a bus or a train, whatever. And it's going to be a lot. I also lost an apartment that I wanted so freaking bad, guys. I maybe will show it on the screen here. it was just so affordable for what we were going to get. This is an insane apartment for New York City. For anyone out there who's like watched New York City apartment vlogs or my New York City apartment tour kind of content, you would know. Or if you've lived in New York City before, this is insane. This is an insane apartment. And I'm really sad. I've thought about it almost every day about how sad that I am that we lost that place, but whatever, it's in the past, it's gone. The weird thing that has been happening. So I'm also in another weird phase. So while all this moving crap is happening at the same time, there's a lot of changes going on in terms of jobs, possibly leaving my job right now, and just a lot of like thinking about what I really want to do in terms of career and my future. I honestly don't know what I want to do. I don't really plan out very far, which is surprising because I'm a huge type A, organize everything kind of person. Right now I'm going with the flow. I'm like, I don't know what's happening after like 5 months from now. I hope I'm doing okay, but besides that, I don't really know what I have in mind. And I'm in this weird place where I don't know whether or not to say yes to a lot of things. And no one can really give me the answers, right? Nobody knows what is supposed to happen for me, what's in store for me. I don't know what's happening and I don't know what's in store for myself. And so basically TLDR, I'm like everyone else. I don't know what the hell is going on. And this is making it weird because all these options are popping up and I'm like, I really am down to say yes to almost everything. And so making this decision is scaring me a little bit. And that's been a little bit weird to handle. All right. What do we have here? I haven't looked at this list in a really long time. Okay. Marriage during the honeymoon phase. This one's so easy for me. Straight up, hell freaking no. I don't think anything serious should happen in the honeymoon phase. Moving in with somebody, just like nothing major, nothing permanent. Please don't do it in the honeymoon phase because you're really looking through life and that person in rose-colored glasses. It's like insane how delusional you are during the honeymoon phase. Everything's brand new. There's an adrenaline rush. You're like, basically, it's like a high that you're riding out. And when you're freaking high, it is not a good idea to make concrete sound decisions because when it comes to moments where your relationship is tested or things get rough in your personal life, that's a whole different story. And the relationship boundaries and just the dynamic of the relationship and all the things that you'll learn about that person and realize about that person changes. So I don't think marriage should happen during the honeymoon phase. I feel very strongly about this opinion that I have. I think you should wait out maybe like a year and a half-ish. I think, is that when the honeymoon phase is done? That's also controversial, but I think it's around a year-ish. Okay, how to break up with somebody. My opinion on this, and Mikey and I have actually talked about this before because we were hanging out one time and we were approached by this guy who was doing interviews at the park. I used to say you should only do it in person, but then after having that conversation, I realized it's a little bit more complicated because what if you're in a really toxic relationship or an abusive relationship? It isn't a good idea to do it in person, and it's better to not be near that person at all. So a text or just completely disappearing is honestly fine, as long as you know that they're not going to hunt you down. Yeah, I strongly prefer to break up and be broken up with in person. I think out of respect to the relationship, the time, the energy you spent together, you should do it in person no matter what. But there are some, caveats. For example, if you're really long distance, you just cannot make the flight to see each other, then okay, FaceTime call at least. But then also again with the abusive relationship, I don't think it should be done in person. Okay, when dating. So this is after you've asked the person out and you're girlfriend, boyfriend, what is the whole thing around splitting or paying for meals and stuff like that? I think once you start dating, I think you should be splitting. It doesn't matter the way you split it. Like if you go out to eat and you're like split evenly, or if half the time he pays, she pays, or the other half you pay. I know there's some people that I've met that the guy really still pays for everything. They paid for everything before they were boyfriend, girlfriend, and then after they started dating, they still pay for everything. And I've heard from some people, it evens out. Like this is their reasoning, that girls will spend a lot of money on just maintenance of their beauty, just to meet the standards of what society says you have to meet as a girl. And if you're dating a guy, the guy, based on standards in society, don't have to pay for the same maintenance and upkeep of their beauty and whatever. And so at the end of the day, it ends up balancing out where what you spend on yourself for your beauty and crap, the guy will spend on the food and to take care of you. I've heard that before. I don't agree with it personally, but even before the dating part, yeah, it's really nice when somebody pays for me. Like I didn't have to take out my wallet. I saved my money. Really, really, really nice. I like when people offer before we start dating. It's a good sign, but I also really don't mind splitting. Always offer to split. I will always go, are you sure? Like I can get it or we can split. I actually won't offer to pay for the whole thing unless I'm dating that person. Next is love at first sight. Is that a real thing? I don't think there's such thing as love at first sight, but I do believe in like being strongly attracted to somebody at first sight. Like they're your vibe, they're physically really attractive, or their mannerisms are just really attractive to you for some reason. I believe in that. I believe in like a major crush at first sight, but I don't believe in love at first sight. I know some people actually do, but I don't believe in that, because you just cannot know enough about a person. You can't get that deep of an emotion truly loving someone without getting to know them. Like you just saw them. I don't understand. How does that even work? Also, I should put in this, like, what exactly is love? What would you define? Like, when do you know you love somebody? That's a good one. I know I love somebody when I like accept them for their like their flaws, their like weird quirks. If I also notice that I'm really like going out of my way and I don't feel doing anything for that person is a transaction, or I don't expect anything back because I just want to do it. There's like no thought in my head that holds me back from doing something for somebody else. And when I get to that point, I feel like I love that person. Which is also why I genuinely think if a guy likes you enough, and this is just like a very sexist thing by saying just guys, but like I think if anyone likes you enough, they'll do anything for you. There's nothing in the world that will hold them back if they really want it enough, if they want you enough, they love you enough, they care about you enough, they'll go to the ends of the planet for you. So don't settle for less. If you're ever questioning, that's the other thing. I've talked about this before, but if you're ever questioning whether or not somebody likes you, then they don't like you enough. That's just like a fact in life. That's the same thing as saying we need oxygen to breathe. The next question is, should you accept your partner the way they are? This one's hard for me to answer. I don't fully have a strong opinion on this one because I always go back and forth about this. When I start thinking about people I've dated, I was really, going through the rose-colored glasses kind of phase. After a while, it starts wearing off, and I find it difficult to accept somebody just the way they are when there's like certain qualities to them that I don't mesh well with. I also know there's like problems with dating somebody and expecting that you can change them, which I can see the appeal of that, and I've also been there, done that thinking to myself, like, yeah, I'm going to change this person. They're going to change for me. But that's usually not the case. Somebody has to change for themselves. This one's rough. I think when it comes to like surface level things, you should be able to accept them because these are little quirks. These are like little things about the person, and you're not going to find the most perfect human being. But I think when it comes to bigger things that are more important to you, their values, the way that they approach life, the way that they mesh with you in terms of lifestyle choices and things like that. You know, if you're clashing there and you don't like something very strongly and you care about that difference, I don't think you should accept it. I think you should move on. I think you should leave because there are way too many people in this world that will be a better fit for you. The next question is cheating acceptable? Actually, the next 3 questions are about cheating. Is cheating acceptable for one? What's worse, emotional or physical cheating? And the last is, should you or can you date successfully after cheating? So the first being, is cheating acceptable? If you are in an abusive relationship, it could be acceptable because you're not able to get out of it and you're probably finding another person to give you comfort and protection. Maybe that could be the only time I could find it acceptable. But besides that, I think that if you are interested in somebody, you can't help it emotionally, okay? Sometimes you're just gonna like somebody. You don't know why your body started liking that person. Your mind started liking that person. You just do. But before you act on it, I think you definitely need to tell the person that, hey, like, we're done. And then from there, you can act on the person that you just accidentally started liking. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. It's acceptable to like somebody when you are dating someone else, when it literally was just a reaction. You literally weren't forcing this to happen, and it just happened to be you started liking somebody. That's also a really good sign that you probably don't like the person you're dating enough. I don't think it is acceptable when it's intentional cheating, and this is emotional and physical. Okay, locking that answer in. The next one is, what's worse, emotional or physical cheating? I think worse, as in what's more painful, like to experience, is being cheated on emotionally. Then I start getting into my head of being like, why is that person better than me? Or like, I'm not good enough. When it's physical, I don't think that comparison happens as much for me. The last cheating question is dating after cheating. I think no. I think not. I think if you think that you can date after someone cheated on you, I think you're lying to yourself, because once a cheater, always a cheater. They are going to cheat on you again. I don't know if the cheating pattern always continues after you change the person you end up going out with. Maybe the next person that they date really just does it for them and they don't end up cheating, and they're no longer a cheater with that person, but they are a cheater with you. I don't know if that's like a thing, but I truly believe if somebody cheats on you once, it's like very, very easy for them to cheat on you again, because that door has already been open, and you allowing them back into your life and allowing that relationship to continue just basically tells them that you're kind of okay with that kind of behavior. I think not. And yes, I am speaking from experience for this one. The next one is, should married couples have joint or separate bank accounts? I think you should have both. I think it's both is great, but if I were to choose one or the other, I think separate bank accounts for sure. You're still your own person. When you date, you marry somebody, like, you should still be your own person. The other person still their own individual, and you're going to want to buy things for yourself. Sometimes you and the other person have very different spending styles and you make different amounts of income. And I think whenever money comes into between a relationship, it really just messes things up because it becomes very transactional, and money is just not a good thing to mix up with emotion in general. So I would definitely just try to avoid that as much as possible by maintaining separate accounts. And when it comes to like buying things, just going through the pain of splitting everything, doing all the finances, that pain will be equivalent anyways, or even less than the pain you would have to go through if you had a joint account and everything was, split and filtered through that joint account, and money talks have to happen, and it just gets kind of uncomfortable and painful to talk about, and it could really split up it splits up most couples. So just to avoid significant amount of trouble, I would just not bother. And that's also why I think signing a prenup is fine. I think it's a great idea. I will slip my prenup to my mans. I saw somebody talk about this one time, and they were saying that it's kind of like insurance. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know if you're going to, have a disease or go through some kind of surgery, but you still pay for insurance anyway. And that's a very standard process. You buying insurance doesn't guarantee yourself that you're going to get injured in the future. And this is kind of the same thing with the prenup. That's how I see it. You just pay for it like insurance, and it's there when you need it. And if you never need it, you never need it. It shouldn't be offensive. If someone sent me a prenup, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'd sign that shit. Thanks for listening to another dating episode. Let me know what you guys thought about some of my opinions and these topics in the comments below, or shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, whatever. I will check them out and respond to you, unless you're creepy and scary. So yeah. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on podcasts, if you're listening to this on any of my podcast platforms, don't forget to follow the podcast and rate the podcast so that you are notified whenever a new episode comes out. And yeah, bye.